Good day, and welcome to Drew's Book Reviews. We're going to talk about some book series that I read before I started my Booktube channel. These are book series that I really like and still love to this day. So, stay tuned. That's coming right up here on Drew's Book Reviews. Alright, so this will be the last video in my book series of videos. So, let's check this out. So these are books that I read before I started my Booktube channel, and they're book series that I've really enjoyed and still like to this day. But before we get into that, make sure you hit that like button, comment, and subscribe. I do post videos every single Friday here on the channel. You can also check me out on my Bookstagram and Discord and Patreon. All that will be linked below. So let's take a look at this. What are some book series that I have really personally enjoyed that I read before I started my Booktube channel? Some of these I've read even in junior high school, that kind of thing. So let's check that out. This is, of course, in no particular order as far as books read. One of them, of course, is an absolute classic. And, you know, I'm probably going to read this to my daughter next after I'm done reading Lord of the Rings to her, but it is the Harry Potter series by J.K. Rowling. So it's just a fun urban fantasy. I describe it as urban fantasy primarily because it is set in the modern world. But J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter book series. So this was a fun series to read. I read it before I started Booktube. At least I'm pretty sure that I did. Or at least started it before Booktube at the very least, but I'm pretty sure I finished before I started my Booktube channel as well. So, I mean, if you don't know about Harry Potter by now, where have you been? Essentially, it's a wizard, a boy named Harry Potter, goes off to wizarding school and, you know, ends up confronting some pretty crazy stuff and overcoming that. So, Harry Potter book series by J.K. Rowling. This is one I look forward to reading to my daughter and, you know, maybe watching the movies with her afterwards, just kind of like we're doing with the Lord of the Rings right now. Technically, I did read The Lord of the Rings before I started Booktube, but I am currently reading it now as well, so I don't really count that in my before Booktube at this point. But anyway, Harry Potter series by J.K. Rowling is a book series that I really enjoyed, and, you know, I am going to look forward to rereading it at some point. Now, one of my all-time favorite book series all-time has to be Douglas Adams' Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. So again, I read this entire series, the trilogy in 5 parts, long before I actually started my Booktube channel, but it's a book series that I absolutely loved then and I love to this day. It is hilarious, it is funny, it is outrageous, it is absurdism. It's like Discworld in space, because everything is so absurd and crazy and nuts and just crazy. It's kind of like the science fiction version of Discworld. Is kind of the way I might describe it, just because there's so much crazy stuff going on and absurdism. But Douglas Adams' Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy is absolutely hilarious. I love this series of books. I love the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, and I love everything about it. If you haven't read Douglas Adams' Hitchhiker's Guide, definitely check it out. We've got, of course, the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, but also the restaurant at the end of the universe. Life, the universe, and everything. So long, and thanks for all the fish, and mostly harmless. All of which are just fantastic. I'm sure I'll probably reread Hitchhiker at some point. In fact, I think I want to get this on Audible and listen to the Audible version, because I bet that'll be just as funny, if not funnier, than reading it in my head. So I look forward to that. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, absolutely hilarious. I'm hoping maybe I could read this to my daughter at some point as well. One of the other books that will always have a special place in my heart, I read this when I was in junior high, and I absolutely fell in love with the series. Now, just the original books in this series, not the expanded universe from this series so much, but this one will always have that special place in my heart as a book series that I absolutely love and will always love, and that's going to be Orson Scott Card's Ender's Game series. Fantastic book, absolutely love this series. I love the original Ender's Game book, so Ender's Game, Genocide, Speaker for the Dead, Children of the Mind. Not necessarily in those orders, I'm just listing the books, but those are books within this series, and I will always love the Ender's Game series for introducing me to a wider world of science fiction. And I absolutely love that about just the character of Ender Wiggin and what he has to go through, what he realizes and how he's been used and manipulated. I'm just going to leave it at that, because if you haven't read it, I don't want to spoil it for you, though this book has been out for quite some time, so if you haven't seen the movie or read the books at this point, go do that. This is definitely a science fiction book series that I would highly recommend. One of the other book series that I had read through virtually in its almost entirety, there actually are a few I haven't read yet, but for the most part I've read this series before I started this Booktube channel, and that is The World of Shannara. This is just one of many, many books in this series by Terry Brooks. First King of Shannara is the one I've chosen to show you, but it is one of many, many books. I think there's like 20 or 30 books or something like that in the series now. Like, there's just so many books. But Shannara is based in a post-apocalyptic world where the world has been reset, essentially. And overall, it's got the magic and the druids and all kinds of cool stuff going on here. Demons, magic swords, elf stones, all kinds of awesome stuff. I think the elves live in Oregon, or what is now known as Oregon, something like that. Anyway, maybe I'm wrong on that. It's been a while since I've actually read a lot in the Shannara world, but hopefully one of these days I do want to go back and just kind of reread all of Shannara from start to finish, because this is really a good series that I really enjoyed reading, that I read virtually in its entirety before I started this Booktube channel. So if you like post-apocalyptic fantasy worlds, this is a great read for you. Shannara, the whole world of Shannara. There's a lot of books, but overall really good. And another book series that I read before I started this channel and heralded as one of the best science fiction book series of all time, and that is going to be Frank Herbert's Dune. So I'm just talking about the original 5 Dune books that were published in this universe, not the expanded universe. But Frank Herbert's Dune is just phenomenal. If you haven't seen the movie, fantastic movie, Dune. Check it out. I highly recommend that. But Dune, Frank Herbert, one of the best science fiction books ever written as far as I'm concerned. It's space opera. It's vast in scope. It takes place over a long period of time, the entire series, and everything about this series of politics, the intrigue, the commentary on human psychology and society and economics and war and everything is just so amazingly well done with Frank Herbert's Dune. Check it out if you haven't already, because I highly recommend this book. Fantastic. Dune by Frank Herbert. Alright, and last on this list of book series I read before Booktube, this is a book series that I absolutely love. It's one of those book series that made me fall in love with the epic, large-scale fantasy book series that I loved. And definitely I've heard from the community, it seems to be split. Some people love it, some hate it. But you know what? I'm one of those people that absolutely love this book series, and that is Terry Goodkind's Sword of Truth series. I love it. I love it so much that I named my kids after it. Kaylin and Kara are 2 of my daughters named after characters from these books, and I absolutely love this book series. It is a series that I fully intend on eventually rereading at some point, and I want to go back and reread the entire series. At this point, there's about 19 books set in this world, but I absolutely love Terry Goodkind's Sword of Truth series, starting out with Wizard's First Rule. This is just, I love the world, I love the Sword of Truth idea, I love the magic that's in this world, I love the ideas behind it, and there's just so much fun and adventure in this. Now, definitely it has its criticisms. I have fond memories of remembering this series is virtually perfect, but we'll see how I feel on a reread, because definitely I've read a lot more since then, and I think I definitely have a different approach to how I think about books than I did when I first read this series of books. We'll see how I like it, if I like it as much second time around, but I definitely do plan on getting to a reread eventually. This is a series I absolutely love. Wizard's First Rule. I love the whole set of Wizard rules, and maybe one day I'll actually do a video on the Wizard rules. Who knows? But love Terry Goodkind's Sword of Truth world with Richard and Kaylin and Kara and Zedekiah Zolzarander. I joke that I would love to name my kid Zedekiah Zolzarander one day, but you know, that never happened. But anyway, Sword of Truth by Terry Goodkind, starting with Wizard's First Rule. This is a really great fantasy series. If you haven't read it, I love it. I'll always have fond memories of reading it, and I have no doubt I will enjoy it the second time through whenever I get around to it. Not sure when I'll get to the second reread through, but I will and am planning on rereading Sword of Truth series at some point. So there you have it. There are book series that I read before Booktube that I really love and really enjoy, and I certainly hope that I would enjoy them on my second time through when I do get to them eventually, because I probably will reread all these books at some point. But there you have it. Have you read any of these books? Let me know what you think down in the comments down below. And as always, until next time, keep on reading. Bye.